Hello, hi, and welcome yet again to the T-Files. Another restringing video. So we've done the acoustic, we've done an electric, Les Paul style. Now we're moving on to the most complicated that everyone keeps asking me about. The classical guitar. Right, so we're doing it on our own model today, the Thum, which you'll see in previous videos. So yeah, the strings that come out on these guitars are not so great. They're very entry level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a set of Diatarios Pro Arts on here. So this will definitely come alive, I believe. Let's get into it. So basically a classical guitar with nylon strings. They don't have balls. You can get ones that have balls on the ends for the cheaters. But the problem I find with the ball ends is there's not enough resonance. So when you tie the string around the bridge, like you'll see here, the whole string makes contact with the bridge, creating a better resonance as opposed to just a ball touching the bridge. So in my opinion, it's better to have a wraparound system. So the best way to start is to just loosen them at the top of the headstock and then do the untie over here. So it doesn't matter which way you start. You can start at the top with thick string or thin string. Doesn't matter. Most people just cut the strings off, but yeah, let's not worry about that right now. Okay, now that we've got the strings loose-ish around the machine heads, we can actually begin to start like taking them out of the shafts. So if you can't seem to get them out, it's good practice just to pull them out with a little star screwdriver, flat screwdriver, whatever you want that doesn't damage the actual headstock of the guitar. So once you got it out, it's just literally an end of the string. You can put that one aside. You can do the same with the other 5. They just pop out. Sometimes they are quite tight. And the only other way is to actually just slice them, which you'll see maybe in the video, but we'll see. So you just keep trying, and if you can't seem to get in there with your screwdriver, you can always use your pliers. Comes in handy. Also, just making sure you don't hurt the guitar. You hurt the guitar, I hurt you. Yeah, after careful frustrations and finger stabbings and sticky roonies with your pliers that get stuck in between there, probably noticed that, we eventually get them out of the machine head side. Moving on to the bridge now. Basically, it's just good practice to start with the thin E string first, and then you just pop the one side up like that. You can do all actual 6 at the same time if you want, just to loosen them all. Just pull them out from front to back like that, and you loosen the ties. And you can begin to just wiggle, wiggle, and undo the little tie that they've done here. Even just pull it straight clean out like that. And there you have it. So again, with the string tightolitis, you just grab them like this with the ends of one side, wrap it around your hand 3 or 4 times, depending on how big your hand is. And then you fold them in like so. Once, twice. And then they stay in a circle. They don't unravel or fall out the bin. Please, guys. Alright, so now that we got our open bridge, this being a brand spanking new guitar, it's not necessary to actually lemon oil fretboard or the bridge or anything like that, because the wood is still moist. The words that come out my mouth sometimes. So yeah, I'm just basically like cleaning all the dust off now. I mean, there shouldn't be any dust being a brand new guitar, but yeah, giving it some love. Hello, how are you? Oh, good. Okay, so if this was your guitar and you've been playing it for quite some time, you would probably need to put some lemon oil as I said in my previous videos, it's not lemon in here, it's just mineral oil. Okay. And then you'll need some cloths, right? Dry cloths. Unless you're using it with the lemon oil, then it's obviously moist. So once you got it all clean and ready to go, then you grab yourself some strings. I meant to do that. And for those who like the sound, why does it never happen with me? See? So yeah. Today we're using, as I said before, Didaria Perlart, because they're fantastic strings. They make the guitar sound like so beautiful. And then foil fresh, factory fresh, right? I should have had scissors, but it's okay. I'm strong like ox. Okay, and then once you got them out, you'll notice they are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? So we obviously start with number 1, guys, because we count from 1, not 6. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out already, the first string, number 1, is the bottom, the thin E. Okay, so you take either side of the string. It really doesn't matter, unless we'll get to now. So you take this side or this side, doesn't matter. Then what you're going to do is you're going to thread it through from the back of the bridge to the front. You can do it from the front to the back as well, whatever you're into, but this is how I do it. Obviously, looking at the thin E hole, you're going to thread it through from the one side. Now, sometimes you're going to get a bit of a resistance because the bridge actually curves up. So you take yourself a flat screwdriver, regardless of size. Obviously, too big is going to not get in, get in the way. It's not going to work. So smallish, medium, okay? And then you just put it through one side like this, and you lift up the string in such a way that it goes past the wood. Putting the screwdriver down, you pull it all the way to a point where you've got enough slack. Don't pull it all the way through, then you're going to start from scratch again. So leaving that piece alone, you then come closer to the bridge and you focus on this. Now, best way to do this is so that all the excess winding goes up and gets held by the other 5 strings, is to wrap it up, right? Wrap it away from you, okay? Going around and then through the existing hole, right? And over. Did you see that? Did you see that? Let me do it again for those who weren't paying attention. Okay, so you take this extra piece here and wrap it from your side out, away. Okay, so going that way. And then taking the loop that's there, take this piece and you put it through the loop, like that. Then with that piece, you go over the loop again, like that, and under again. So that's now 2 loops. So what you want to do is 3 on the E and the B, which we'll get into now. So once again, over and under the loop. Once you've got 3, you pull tight, and you should have a nice, beautiful, delicious ribbon-like kind of thing. So once you've got that nice and tight with your hand, it should stay. Okay, so I'm going to unravel. So then you put that guy one side. And then you move on to your next string, which if you paid attention in school, number 2, the B string. Again, doesn't matter which side you use, they're both basically plain. So again, starting with whichever way you want, but it's just easier to do it this way. You put it in from the back, making sure now that you go underneath this guy. The reason for that is because this string, the B string, is going to hold the E in place. you find your hole, making sure you're going underneath this one. And if you get resistance, use the resistance killer screwdriver. Again, you pull through a little bit, leaving some slack. If this guy always keeps wrapping around yourself, you either put it in your mouth. For those germaphobes, you can just stick it somewhere in your pocket or whatever you're into. And then again, so you take this piece, you wrap it from your body, away from you, around. Okay? Then you take this guy and you put it back through the hoop. Like so. And then you do that another 2 times. Once over, once under. Once over, once under. So that's 3 times you've looped it. And you pull tight. Just like that. And then you'll notice, making sure that you've got your E string underneath, that B string is now holding the E string in place. Clever! Now, if you know nylon strings, they can get very stretchy. So it is helpful that they hold each other like a family. Now, these are going to constantly flap around like a seal trying to catch a ball. So what I tend to sometimes do is either put something heavy on top of them, or actually just put them through the sound hole, into the sound hole. Keeps them in place. Then you move on to your D and your G, or your G and your D. Still sticking onto the just steady. Still sticking onto the nylon, same concept, but now it gets a little trickier because the thicker string is going to make it more difficult to do 3 windings. So you're going to do 2. Okay, so count with me. So you take your one edge, again, making sure you're going underneath your E and your B. So moving them up will ensure that you're doing that. Put it through the hole, get a bit of resistance, stick the screwdriver in there, and push them through. Nobody resists Jared. Okay, and then you pull, pull, pull. Not all the way now. Okay, put that guy inside the sound hole or underneath your heavy object. And with the motion of moving away from you, you wrap it around, ensuring you don't get the other strings involved here. Once you got it around, you go through the hoop, over, and through the hoop. So that was 2 windings. I don't know if you were counting. So if I did 3, there would be too much of the winding around the bridge and you would cause issues. So pulling tight by holding this side so it doesn't pull through, and pulling tight with this side, pushing your thumb down on it will actually keep it in place as well. And there you have it. There's your nylon unwound strings done. Keeping the excess in the sound hole, we move on now to your wound strings, which is your D. Now, in some cases, you'll get strings that have one side, I'm talking about the wound strings here now, one side straight, one side fluffy. So you see that's a fluffy part. So now you're not obviously going to try and stick the fluffy part through the hole because you're going to be there for hours. So you take the sturdy part, right, the solid part, and you put them through the hole, again, making sure now that you're going underneath your previous strings. So there you have it. I'm now underneath. Now these strings are going to give you more resistance than the nylons because they don't move as much. So you will definitely need your non-resistor. And yeah, put him in there and up she goes. Okay. See? In the sound hole. Live with your brothers. Behave yourself. Okay, so now, same concept as before, but from now on, after the E and the B, you're going to be doing only 2 windings, not 3. Now, the reason why you do the 3 windings on the E and the B is because they're thinner nylon strings. They slip a lot more. So if you use 3 windings, it prevents slippage. Okay, so taking this one, wrapping away from you, around, and underneath, through. Okay, over, underneath, through. Pull tight. So there was 2 windings, and you have your beautiful, delicious, ribbon-like winding. Again, This is going very quickly, isn't it? See? No room for hassle, no room for excuses. Just get it done. Last two going on now, and then we'll move to the top of the headstock. So, we find out which one number 5 is. This is where it gets tricky, guys, because the strings are very close to the same thickness here. So that's why they mark it, either with color. If you know your Diodario colors, comment below, and you might get a high five from me. Okay, so remember, stabby side, okay, not fluffy side. Take the other strings and you pull them up. You find the hole, you push it through, get non-resistor, resistant killer, resistance is futile, you name it. And then you pull tight, not all the way though, stop pulling! Put the excess with its friends, and again, you wrap away from yourself, okay? You take the excess underneath, pull through, over, under, and pull tight. Making sure every single time you do a string that you are getting the others underneath it and stuck in play. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to have one string that keeps slipping, and you're not going to know why until it hits you in the eyeball, and then you're going to have to go see the doctor. And then you're probably going to complain to the doctor that you watched a YouTube video of how to restring your guitar, and then I'm going to take responsibility for it, and then I'm going to get sued. And no, watch this video properly. Thank you. All right, so once you've got this string out of its packaging, you find the Sharpie pit. Again, Sharpie, not flappy. Like a stiffy drive, not a floppy drive. For those that know, you know. Okay. Now, moving the other 5 strings out the way, you find the hole, you push through, you take your screwdriver, you push it in the right direction, helping it up, pulling nice and tight. And for the last time, I'm going to show this ever in the history of ever. I'm just kidding. Take it, wrap it away from you, creating a curl, going underneath, pulling through, like so, over, and under, pulling tight. This one will be a little trickier because he's a bit thicker. And there you have it. All 6 of your strings are now pulled tight and fuss on that bridge. And look how beautiful that is. These little excesses we will cut off once we have tuned up. So, moving on to the other side now. I always just like to start with number 1, okay? So, if you wanted these other 5 strings out of the way, again, you could just use something heavy to keep them down here, or just set them aside, one side, and then just take the one you want to work with in question first. So what I tend to want to do is just move all the machine heads in a way that all the holes that go through the shaft are facing up. And the reason for that is, I'll show you now. So it's just easier to get the string through the actual shaft. Right. So now you'll see there's a little hole right there. That's the hole we're going to work with. I don't know if you're going to see that in the video, but that is the hole that we want to work with. So obviously, thin E string, bottom of the head. Okay. Obviously starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yay! All right. So now what I tend to do, and this is just the way I do it, okay, it works wonderfully for strings staying in tune, okay? So there are many, many, many ways to skin a cat. I know this, but this is my way, and I've been doing it for 20 years. So if you want to do it my way, keep watching. If you don't want to do it my way, thank you. All right, so I go past the shaft, all right, with this piece, right past the shaft, so in between your E and your B shaft. Then I take, this is where it gets tricky, so you got to have your glasses on. Make sure you didn't drink any whiskey. And you're going to go through the hole from underneath all the way up. Okay, so now you've got your string through the shaft, but from underneath. Right. Again, if you were paying attention with your first bump, still applies here. I take the string, doesn't matter which way, you can do it from inside or outside, as long as you go over the string that you're holding with your right hand. So with your left hand, you just go over the string and back through the hole. And then you take it from underneath and you pull tight. So what that has actually done is it's created a nice knot to keep the string in place. And then what you do is you just basically turn it around. Now, with certain headstocks and their design, they won't allow you to have the string go that way or that way. But in this case, it's quite a large slotted headstock style, so you should be able to have the string go only on your E strings, wrap around outward, so from the middle of the shaft towards the machine head, not towards the wood. Only on your thin E string and your thick E string. The other B, A, D, and G's will go inwards towards the middle piece of the wood, which you'll see now. So I'm just making sure, as you can see, I don't know if you can see in the video, but this is going on the opposite side, so towards the machine head side. So from the middle of the headstock out. So your second and third windings should start on that side, not that side, if this is all making sense. And then you just keep going on and on and on until it gets nice and taut. Making sure, again, that everything is where it should be. So that your string is on the saddle, not off, and not wrapped up in another string, because it happens. And you don't have to tune it up, you just have to make sure it's up to tension. Then, making sure you're grabbing the next string in line and not your G string. We want the B string. Okay, getting that guy out the way. Doing the same thing. So I'm going to go through the B and the G shaft now. So right past, take the end of the string and making sure I didn't have too much to drink, I push through from the underneath side. Again, with the first bump, right, taking the string, again, now I don't matter which way it goes, as long as I'm going over the string, I go back through the hole, and grabbing it that side, pulling it tight. And there we have it. Just making sure that I go around. Now remember, from here on in until you get back to the E string, the strings are going to wrap from the middle of the shaft towards the middle section of the headstock, which is the wood section, so away from the machine head. And the reason for that is so that you don't have strings wrapping around each other and getting in the way and causing reverberation, because it happens. So that will nicely pull taut. There we go. Then you take that excess piece. Now, what a lot of guys do is they just cut the excesses off as they go along. You could if you want, but I mean, I like to have the satisfaction of cutting all the ends off in one shot. So I'll wait till the very end, huh? Right, now taking your G string, if you were paying attention. Same concept. Now you obviously don't have two shafts to go between. You just got the wood and the shaft. So you got right past. Oh, it's getting tricky now. And then put it through the hole like that. And back down again. Now, if, for instance, your guitar is maybe a vintage guitar or it's using machine heads with what we call smaller holes in the shafts like this, then what you might need to do on this particular string is just put it through once and wrap it in such a way that the string goes over its original excess, if that makes sense. So if you've got an extra piece of string, like you'll see popping out now, then you go over like that, and then you tighten it so that this piece is falling underneath this. But in this case, I don't need to worry about that because I've done my knot. And then you just tighten it up like. Now these being nylon strings, they can take a lot of abuse, so you don't have to worry like if it's a steel string of kinking it twice. If you kink it, you put it through in wrong, don't worry about it, just try again. Making sure that you're not tightening it up too much, because if you tighten it up too much, it actually can set in that design. It can actually cut the string or whatever. So, as you can see in the video, like so, you see the string goes there, there, there. None of them overlap each other, none of them get interfered with each other. They're all away from each other, which is what you want. All right, now moving on to the wound strings. And this is why I told you guys about the sharp edge, because if you take the fluffy side and try and put the fluffy side through the bridge, you're still going to have the fluffy side to put through the shaft as well. It's unnecessarily struggling, okay? That's why I do these videos, so that it's easier for you guys, right? Okay, so again, concept. This is just going to be a mirrored version, because obviously we've done it that way. Now we're going to do it that way. So whatever you see on the one side, you reverse. So right past, through the hole, fist bump, and you're going to go over the string. Always make sure you go over the string, because if you pull the string through and it's not going over, you're just going to pull it right through the hole, and you're still going to have to do it again. So once you've got your nice little knot, you just make sure that now you're going from, on the D and the A, you're going from the middle of the shaft towards the wood. So just making sure that your second wind starts on that side. Just kind of flip it out of the way. And again, with every single string, just ensure that everything is lining up where it should. It's sitting on the saddle, it's not cross around another string, it's not sitting on top of something it shouldn't. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem later and then you'll have to redo everything. Okay, so now again, right between the I's, between the A and the D, and you go from underneath through the hole, pulling it taut-ish, now over the existing string, and back through the hole, pulling it from underneath. Ta-da! Again, with the A string, you're going to now go from the middle of the shaft to the wood part, making sure that your second wind starts on that side. And then move that guy out the way. And lastly, the E, baby, the E. So, again, for the last time, past through the E and the A shaft, making sure you're not getting any other strings in the way. You go through the shaft hole, like so. Every single time you do this, make sure you are not going over another string. So you see that A string is kind of close now. So I'm going to go over the E string, and before I go over the A string, go through the hole and pull tight. Just like that. Now remember, on both E's, I'm going towards the machine head, not towards the wood. So the winding is now going to go that side. So I wrap around. Now this is only if you've got space to do this. If you don't have space for the string to go that way, then just do it that way. It's just nice and clean to keep it like this. The strings don't intertwine, should I say, and they don't cause reverberation where it's unnecessary. And there you have it. So they're all up to tautness now. You take all the rubbish that you don't want and you throw it in the bin. Now, I'm going to be cutting off the excess hair here, because nobody likes hair. Excess hair, that is. So Again, cautiousness is the play here. You don't want to cut the already restrung string. You're only cutting the excess off. So by paying attention and using your eyeballs, you take your nifty little side cutter. Now don't try and cut it with pliers, because you've got to get your pliers past. If you look at any pliers, conventional pliers, the cutter's over there in the middle. Now I've got to get the whole thing through. You're going to damage the wood. So no, use side cutters, because you can cut it on the edge. None of this has to touch the wood. Okay? Right. So by holding the part that you want to cut off, you just get it as close to possible. I'll do it from this side so you can see. Close to possible, and you slip him. Okay. Now you got some floss for your teeth. Making sure that you don't cut too far out so that it can still kind of get in the way, but also not too close where you can just basically cut the whole string clean off. So now this one is on the other side, so I can choose to cut it from that side, or I can just tune it up to a point where it actually comes to the other side. So it's easily accessible, like so. So again, making sure I don't cut the G string or the B string. I'm just cutting its excess, like that. See? More tinsel. And this dude, now if he's gone too far, you can always just bring it back. You're not going to slacken the string too much. So it's all just about making sure you don't cut any part of the string or the guitar that is unnecessary. Okay, this one is just too far, so we bring you back. Like so. You notice I'm not damaging the guitar in any way. I'm being careful. And then this one, we just go like this. Like so. And this one like so. And in this case, before I cut the strings at the edge of the bridge, I'm going to do a tugging. So now the strings aren't up to standard tension yet, but they are taut. So what I can do is I can just grab the string like I showed you before in my previous. So thumb down, 3 fingers up. Thumb down, 3 fingers up. Look like I'm trying to give someone a thumbs up, but I'm not. Okay, so you take the string with 3 fingers and you push down, push down, push down, push down. See that? So it was a taut string, it's now a floppy string. Slap of the bass, man. Same with the other 5. Taut. No more. So all I'm basically doing is making sure that the ties on the bridge and what I've just done on the shafts are all getting pulled tight. So there's no extra string slippage that might occur down the line. And then once I've done this, it is safe to cut off the excess on the bridge side. So if I don't do that and I cut here and I tweak, there's not a lot of bite on the end here. So if I cut that off and then tweak, pull, it's going to come clean off. That's why I stretch the string before I cut. Okay. Without dropping the guitar, you take this and you only cut there. Can you see that? So I'm not cutting the whole thing right where it starts. I'm just cutting. Whoop, and yeah, that's going to happen. Don't worry. Happens to the best of us. And then you just push that down so it's not in anyone's way. And you've got yourself a restrung guitar. But wait, there's more. You still have to tune it. Okay, now being nylon strings, they're going to go out of tune a lot. Okay, even the most expensive strings will go out a lot. Generally takes about, say, a day max. If you stretch your strings and do all the things, then it settles after a day. It's basically the strings got to pull. It's a lot of pulling. It's like tug of war. So eventually it gets to a point where it can't move anymore, and then it stays. So then you take your device called a clip-on tuner, or you can use if you're old school, a tuning fork. Why? I don't know. If you're into that, then fine. Otherwise, you can be one of those purists and actually tune by ear. But we've got the device. you know? So you just clip it on, switch it on, obviously, and then just tune up. So now what I tend to do is just tune past it's supposed to. So if it's an E, I tune it to like F almost. It's not going to break the string. It's just going to stretch it easier. Same with the A, I go right past A and I go to B. And it's this time you'll start noticing that your guitar is actually resonating better. The reason for that is because new strings resonate better. So yeah, these are obviously much better strings than what came on the guitar. So yeah, it will be a huge improvement. So D goes to D sharp, not E, otherwise you're going way too far. G will then go to, you guessed it, no, not B. G sharp. I've been told I'm a very good teacher. I don't know why. Na, 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 na. So B will go to C. You later. And then E will go to F. Okay, so now I've tuned each string up way past it should, so it's gone from E to a whole note F. But now that's actually just under E now. So as you'll notice, you keep tuning and you keep tuning and you keep tuning. But what I do is, even though it's up to standard tuning, I still give it yet another tug. What that ensures is that if there is any leftover part of the string that is not seated, it will now be taut. And then you just tune it one more time. You don't have to go way past now, you can just tune it close to. And then let it settle. So these strings are pretty good, so they're not going way out of tune. So I just need to tune it ever so slightly. And there you have it. And then final thing is just to kind of wipe your fingerprints away. For any evidence. Dry cloth. Wipey, 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 wipe. This is the way we clean our evidence, clean our evidence, clean our evidence. This is the way we clean our evidence so we don't go to jail. So we don't go to jail today, we're not going to go to jail. That's it. So to recap, all right, very simple. Always take the strings off the headstock first, take them off the bridge after. Don't just cut them because you might hurt yourself. Like they're under a lot of tension, so if you cut them, they're just gonna whoosh, nobody wants that. So just ensuring that the guitar is clean, because a clean guitar makes it easier to play. So it sounds better, believe it or not. And also when you go on stage, people go, hey, that guy's playing a clean guitar, as opposed to, oh, gross, I can see his fingerprints all over it. So keep it clean. And then also, when you start on the bridge, always ensure that you've got the firm side of the string going through the bridge, not the floppy side, because you're going to have problems then and there. Okay. And then just ensuring that none of the strings go under each other or over each other, unless it's where you're doing the tying. Same with the headstock, make sure you're not going over any strings unnecessarily, and that they are all far away from each other, so there's no resonance from the B string coming through the E string, etc., etc., etc. You don't want any unnecessary resonation. You just want the guitar to ring out the best way it can possibly ring. And that's it. So yeah, just making sure that you don't get the string stuck anywhere, knotted anywhere where it shouldn't be, and you should be A for away. So remembering the design of tying, E and B, 3 knots. From there on, G, B, A, and E, 2 knots. And then past the shaft, under, over, down again. That's all you need to worry about. All right. So thanks for watching my third restring video. I appreciate you guys supporting me in this. At the end of the day, I'm doing this for you guys so that you have the knowledge and the know-how, because at the end of the day, when I'm not around anymore, who's gonna show you? That sounded wrong. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and if you like any of these videos, please just give it a like, a subscribe, a knock, thumbs, whatever. I don't know what you guys call it this day. Just throw some love out there, right? Okay? Have a good one, and I'll see you in yet another video, whenever that may be.